So welcome to today's event. It's about improving hiring in C++ with Meeting C++, what Meeting C++ offers to you for hiring, and especially targeting folks that have open positions and that are looking for C++ developers. So also want to say that, today, of course, it's also interesting if you are looking for a position, more about this later. So just quickly want to just point out why Meeting C++, right? I have an incredible reach into the community. I have a reach in 28 days, because that's how social media platforms usually measure this, of like almost 300,000 on LinkedIn, almost 450, close to 500,000 on Twitter. And there's a lot of untapped possibilities here for hiring in the community outreach, which I can give you through Meeting C++, Meeting C++ Online, etc. And this is what I'd like to talk about now. And you've probably already seen it, and I've been hearing it for years, that C++ devs are hard to find. And you kind of wonder why that is, right? And one of the big reasons, I think, is like everyone is looking. Okay, so people have open positions, and they're just trying to find the right programmer for that, but it's really hard because everyone wants an advanced C++ programmer, and so there's a lot of competition. And in today's world, often the good programmers are able to choose their positions. They have lots of companies to choose from where they want to employ. And on the other hand, it's like the way we do recruiting that alienates people. As a developer, you get on the social media platforms like LinkedIn or on Xing. These examples are from Xing. You get a lot of spam from recruiters that just write messages to everyone, and they kind of find the candidates through that, but they alienate the rest of the community, and that's not okay. And also, of course, they write in their messages that they look at your profile. I'm always amazed at that, because in Xing, in my profile, I explicitly state that I'm not looking for a job. Okay, so then I kind of wonder where did those folks look? Not really a lot, right? And then I want to point out that yes, I've been misgendered, haha. Which that's not such a big problem for men, because most copy pasta is for men. But for women, it's a big problem and doesn't make them feel welcome in our community. That even this is a side effect of that copy pasta and everything which goes around. And another neat thing is they mentioned here in this message that they have this global player in Ostwestfalen, and I'm not sure, but I know a few people from that area which work with C++, and I think I know the company, right? This is I'm so well connected in C++ that if you mention where the company is, if it's not Munich where a ton of companies exist, I probably know which company you're talking about. And no, I'm not looking for a position. Also, when I was a freelancer and I was currently not looking for a project, and I changed that to my status, I got literally offers for projects from people using the search function and having search agents which trigger on projects and people which are looking, right? So the whole model we are trying to recruit folks with right now is more like a shotgun and not really precise. So I asked the C++ community for this presentation in spring of this year and in fall of 2021. So last year, I've been specifically asking people, if they're not looking for a job, how many recruiters companies have contacted for a job in the last 3 months, okay? And the numbers in fall get a bit better, but in spring it's a bit worse. So you see there's a problem. There's some people which are lucky that they're not found by recruiters. They're probably not on those platforms. They're probably well hidden. But there's a ton of us which get the spam, and I often hear from other developers that they find it annoying. And it's, of course, if you're coding and you're in the zone and your telephone rings because the recruiter found your number, or just something like that pops up, that's extremely annoying and can lose you work, which really, that's really bad, and those people don't understand that. I also asked on LinkedIn, and of course on LinkedIn it's a bit worse than on Twitter, because on LinkedIn there's a ton of recruiters, right? That's kind of what you would expect on LinkedIn, right? And again, the trend holds that it's in spring seems to be a bit worse than it was in the fall of last year, which could be a seasonal thing, could be a statistical thing, I don't know, but it's a big problem for people working in our space. So when I started the online user group, I was thinking about what can you do with it? What formats can you offer? And so I've been playing around with various formats, and one of those formats and events that came along is the job fair. A fair where people can come to and meet employers that are looking for C++ programmers that have open positions, and that is basically where both sides can just join and find each other, and that's so far a great success. And we're going to look a little bit more into this, how this works. So originally I had planned to have 5 events in this year, 4 events, but we have 5 events. The next event is next week. We had an extra event in June because some companies wanted to host that one. And so the way this works is it also attracts a lot of traffic for people that do not come to the job fair, because not everybody has time, right? There is a CV sharing form, and folks can share their resumes over this. It creates a light profile. So folks can choose their country, like relocation and remote, what the options are, which they are available to. And they give the C++ skills, the field of work, and the years of experience. And this allows to share with the companies that are either in the sponsors of the event or with the employer listing, which, by the way, is now kind of the same thing. If you be at the event now, you will be for half a year in the employer listing. More on this later. So for 2021, all of the year, this is the candidates which from those countries they came. We always have a lot of candidates from India, and we have some candidates from other countries, which then total up to this for 1 year. I want to explicitly mention that this graph has been misread by some companies. Some companies look at this graph and say, well, there's not enough developers from other countries. It's kind of a chicken and egg problem. Why should people submit from your region if there's no company available to them? And if a company from Italy joins, I can communicate that. If I have no companies from Italy, I have less people from Italy or Turkey or United Kingdom, Serbia, Spain, wherever you are located with your company, right? So this is kind of a chicken and egg problem. I also asked for the skills, which gives us kind of an overview, like what candidates are mostly interested in, or what they feel relevant to have as their skill visible, like as their top skills. And so those skills are chosen by the candidates. And you see that C++11 is the most popular one amongst those, the most common one. Same with Linux, 14, object orientation, modern C++ 17, and so on. So that gives you a light candidate profile, together with which fields of work they have chosen. And again, here we have a huge influence by the companies attending Yeah, the labels on the graphs are a bit small. So here it's from left to right. Desktop is the most popular. Other is always popular. Embedded developers we attract a lot. We have server, finance, automotive, telecommunication, image processing, mobile, gaming. Gaming is the black one. Aerospace is the gray one. Then cloud, AI, HPC, audio, and robotics. And there's a clear effect. No, I cannot zoom. This is a slide. And this is like clearly also affected by the companies attending. If we have companies from finance attending, then we have more finance developers. And if we have like companies from the gaming world, then more game developers will show up, right? Similar with the years of experience, which here starts with 0. So we have, see at the beginning of the graph, a lot of companies are interested in in juniors and more experienced developers. We have both of that. And then we also have like developers which have been 10 or more years in the field. And this creates a light candidate profile, which for you as a company, you may filter on, and you also are able to search for it later, because that's an important feature for companies that have like a lot of positions. They might have a position, where you need to filter for a certain standard or a certain library like Qt or Boost. The next step for the candidate is then, because it's like a two-step form to select the companies they want to share with and upload their CV, resume, and add a general cover letter. Not every candidate does, but that's fine. So it's up to the candidate to select the companies they are interested in, okay? So it's not like that every company gets every CV. No, it's like the candidate has to choose the companies they want to share with. And usually per event, we have more than 50 candidates submitting. And this is like still like, I'm still planning this as a long-term strategy, so more companies will join this over time. And as I mentioned already, the attending companies of the event have a strong influence on the candidates showing up. Here you see a comparison between the skills of the first event in 2022 and 2021 in total. The biggest difference is that in 2022, we see that C++17 becomes more popular with the candidates. The other things are just statistically insignificant, I think. But C++17 becoming more popular with the candidates is definitely a trend I can see. Quick word on how the event runs. So the event has tables or booths. You can sponsor them. In that case, you get all the things which I just mentioned. You get to be in the CV sharing form for half a year. You're listed on the website with your logo, and your logo is visible on the job section. You have access to the recruiting tooling, which I'm going to speak about in the next few slides. And it enables me to, do advertising and drive and guided tooling together with your leads. There are free tables, which are limited to 2 visits. They are in the event below the sponsor table, so they don't get as much traffic. It's for companies that are unsure, and they also have half the seats. It depends on how many companies to the event come. Usually we have like 8 seats for sponsor tables and 4 for free tables. But if we have a lot of companies attending, we are usually switching to a 4 and 2 seat model, just to have a better use of space in the event itself. This is a quick view, like those graphs you just see, you also get them for the candidates that submitted to you. So if you have like 30 to 40 candidates submitting to you, you get to see like an overview. What are the skills those candidates share? What are the fields they're coming from? The years of experience and from which countries? And those graphs might be, useful to use for you in a presentation. To to have your internal results presented. And of course, there's also a listing of the candidates which you have some influence on. Also, I forward the candidates per email to you in the CV. Then I already mentioned that there's a search form, and this is a search form. You can filter for certain properties, and that's like, for certain positions important. Like one branch of your company uses Qt, and then there's a backend department which is not based on Qt, they use Boost. And you have two positions, and you want to filter for the candidates that that use Boost for the one position and for the other position that use Qt, as an example. And that's kind of, I see that for some companies, receiving 30 to 40 candidates is too much. So they need to kind of have a way to filter through this and look at candidates that are more what they're looking for. And all of this, has come a bit through the pandemic, through the experiments with the online world. It's still a bit on learning mode, but we are like, this is basically now a well-versed and very successful project in hiring. And I'm looking for employers to join the effort. I want to thank to the companies which have been active in this last year, which are those companies. And I know that the KDAB and Ellplan have hired through this. KDAB is very often at the events because they find it very, very good, and they are very interested in having the contact to the developers through this. And also May and September last year are those companies, and November. And if you count that together, you get to 15 companies in total for last year. But I've also launched last year the recruiter, not the recruiter, the employer listing. And there are 3 more companies listed in that, which are then 17 companies in total. And we had 8 companies in the first event in this year. And right now we have 3 companies currently listed in the upload form. So if you want to share your CV, that works today. But you might want to wait until next week if more companies are coming up and are, part of the effort, and you can then submit to more companies. So just as a tip. I quickly want to go through the submission model. Candidates fill out the submission form, choose their employers, and that gives you an application state, which is present on the website for you, but also emailed to you. There's a filtered search which you can use and has the same result, and there is some interaction required with the candidate. The submission form gives you an overview on the skills, the field of work where a candidate is coming from, a region, which is in this case continents, and the years of experience they have, and you can filter or search on these. Also, you can set a pre-setting that you're only visible to folks which have a certain experience level. Our experience with that works very well, but companies should be careful not to filter out too much. I've removed some settings from filtering for that reason, because companies were basically filtering too many candidates out of that without really knowing. And we as a community get out of this that there is a better hiring and an easier way to connect with the community and to include employers in an inclusive way. I do get some funding out of this, so I can run on the online platform free and paid events. Hubilo costs money; it's a licensed platform, and it's still serves my goal to build a platform and a network for C++. And of course, I'm always looking for employers and companies to work with, so feel free to contact me. And many thanks to the companies that joined in last year, but also this year, of course. If you have any questions, you can reach out via email or, of course, here on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for listening. Let me quickly tab back to the event. Okay.